Alright, so it's been a couple years since I've posted a update video of the car and how it sits currently. I know the last video I took it when I was actually at work and probably forgot to mention a few things. And I know I listed a bunch of things that I wanted to do, and I have accomplished pretty much all of those things, so let's get right to it. So unchanged, 2.3 Whipple Gen 2, running at 2.875 upper, so it's kind of just a step under the 3-inch pulley, which does actually help this blower spin up a lot faster earlier, just that small difference. And I've put maybe 40 or 50 more foot-pounds of torque down just with that change. But however, it's pretty much required me to run Torco around the clock, as it's seeing 20.5 pounds of boost even after I added the long tube headers, which we can talk about next. So I cashed in on the American Racing deal a couple years ago on Lethal Performance. I think they were offering 20% off. I got the 1 3/4 inch long tubes and the 3-inch X pipe with cats. I don't like it to be obnoxiously loud. I still like to be able to hear more of the pure sound of the car and still be able to hear the blower here and there. So I went with the cats, which is a high flow, and it sounds awesome. And I installed a brand new MagnaFlow catback, because the one that I had before was kind of chopped up. It had boreless stingers welded into it. It was kind of leaking. I hit something in the road which destroyed one of the mufflers, so just went ahead and got a brand new stainless steel MagnaFlow system, and it sounds awesome. Deceivingly quiet at idle, and it absolutely rips your face off at full power. New mass airflow sensor. The old 2400 was starting to reach its peak, so we have a 2600 on there thanks to one of you at SVT Performance for the sale. Same expansion tank, dropping down low. I went with the Gord's Ford heat exchanger. That was a very nice unit, and I feel like it's probably the best unit you can get for cooling on these cars, which they definitely need the help, all the help they can get. So I recommend, if you're looking for a heat exchanger, spend the extra $100, get the Gord's Ford's unit. Awesome. And it's from pretty much a one-man operation, I believe, so you're supporting a local business. Return style fuel system. I think I had that in my last video. I might have just installed it, but here it is. It's got a -8 feed and return line. Last time I had the stock feed line, which was showing to be a restriction. I was pegging out around 660, and it didn't have any fuel left. So there's the new feed. We ran one of the 4 Innovations, fuel filters, which is actually mounted in the fender well. And that seemed to fix the issues. Also upgraded to 80-pound injectors. So that is no longer an issue. Lots of suspension work. Caster camber plates, Maximum Motorsports. I went with the H&R springs with the isolators. Full tilt boogie. Bushings all around. New diff cover. New Bilstein upgraded shocks to match the spring rates. It's pretty important that you do that. If you don't just drop your car, you need to match the spring rates to it, or else it's not going to give you the best performance you can get. So pretty much full suspension upgrades, full tilt boogie like I mentioned, the Stifler's fit system. I don't know if you can really see it under there. Also the brace that goes with the fit system, so it's a much more rigid ride. I did a little bit of work on the rims. These are the factory OEM chrome rims, and they have, unfortunately, just about 15 years of hard service on them. So the insides, the chrome is notorious on peeling on these, so I pretty much sanded down the very insides and repainted the insides just to hold me off for another year until I finish grad school, and then I can buy new rims. And I'm hoping to either get some Celine, some 18 inches, or I've been looking at some other options. But if you have any recommendations, post them in the comment section below. Let's see, what else do we have? Coming around back, thanks to Mike, we have the carbon fiber Cobra lettering, which is pretty great. Nothing else has changed in the back. Still running the 555Rs, which are like bricks today because it is 30 degrees out. All the lights in the car have been changed to LED, including the brake and turn signal. The factory headlights are still in there. I went with an HID kit, and I didn't like the way that the lights really worked in this factory housings, so I'm working on saving up some money for the SW lights upgrade, which is probably going to come in a year or two. I think that's it on the outside. Let's take a peek on the inside, because some has changed in there as well. All right, so on the inside, we have the custom Speed Hut gauges. I have oil pressure and a boost gauge added here. Here we have a VEI Systems digital gauge showing battery voltage and fuel row pressure. And of course, the most important gauge that you can have is your AEM wideband. I went with these 4 gauges. My tuner recommended oil pressure. I was looking for something else. I didn't want the gross 3 gauge cluster. I'm sorry if you have that. I just think it's too much. I like the one provided by Alan over at Speed of Sound Gauges. You have to send your pillar in. And I actually had a fitment issue on mine, but he took care of me. Sent it back and he modified it for it to work. So that's all good to go. The reason I went with this gauge here is because the alternators in this car are notorious for dying. I'm sure you might know if you own the car. And I went with an eBay 160 amp alternator, which by the way has been working amazing. I don't think they sell them anymore. I don't know why. It was a shop out in California making them. But I mean, I only do maybe 3,000 or 4,000 miles a year on the car, and this year maybe even less. And I had a dying alternator, which caused me to run lean a couple times, which caused me to have some pre-detonation, which thankfully didn't harm the motor. And if I would have known what my battery voltage was, I would have known earlier that I had a failing alternator, which causes everything else, including your ignition and your fuel system, to pretty much take a dump. So that is a very trusty gauge to be able to monitor that. What else do we have? I have a dyno sheet, which is probably what all you want to see. This was about 3 weeks ago, I want to say. Maybe, yeah, about 3 weeks ago. This was 696 rear wheel and 664, and these are standard corrected, not SAE. I believe the SAE numbers are around 660 to 670. Pete Johnson working his magic up in Loudon. Always a great experience going up there. It was, I think, 17 or 16 degrees that morning, Fahrenheit, so it was unbelievably cold. The car was making a ton of power, and we had to stop at 6125 RPM because my observed numbers were 730 wheel horsepower and I think 694 torque. So the car was making huge power. It was really, really cold. It was peak conditions. And I was dropping fuel row pressure down into the mid-30s, so we stopped it at that point. Great numbers. I mean, on a 2.3 Whipple with pretty much just an exhaust and a fuel system and your basic supporting mods, I mean, that's huge power. Pete's working his magic, and we're running some Torco, obviously, to keep everything safe. But that is where it sits right now. Shout out to Pete. Thank you very much. I don't think there's really anything else to go over, so I'll go ahead and start it up and just do a quick walk around. That'll be it. As you can see, 14.2 is pretty much impossible on a stock alternator. I see 14.5 on a cold start. I've driven the car today. So that alternator is really charging that battery really well. Got our fuel, our oil pressure, and our boost. Planning on getting a new head unit next year. That's also on the list. I'd like to have some Bluetooth capability. And I will also demo the lights for you. Those LEDs are really nice. Make the car look nice and new. Super bright in the back. I know the video doesn't really do it justice, but you can see how nice they look. Same thing with the reverse, high output reverse lights. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to rev it because my neighbors probably don't like me. But I'll give you just a little blip from the engine area. Running healthy. Had the car almost 9 years, and I don't plan on getting rid of it pretty much ever. Hope you enjoyed. Any questions, just comment. Thanks for watching.